One of my mentors was one of the pioneers in the field of hypnoanalysis, Dr. David Cheek, who, again, has since passed on. He passed at the age of 86 in 1996, and he and I worked together from 92 until he no longer could talk on the telephone, which was somewhere in the area of around February of 1996, which is when I had my back surgery. But he prepared me doing idiomotor finger signaling and hypnoanalysis on the telephone. And we traded letters, because there was no email back then, relative to his encouragement of me to prepare my first book. So he gave me a lot of positive feedback and critical feedback that led to the writing and publication of Pain Management Psychotherapy, which came out, published by John Wiley & Sons in 1998. And one of the things that David was so good about was that he was a real down-to-earth man, even though he was so accomplished. And he also was into building bridges with other professions, such as professional hypnotherapists. He did, in fact, work with Leslie LeCrone, who was what might be termed lay hypnotist. He had a bachelor's degree in psychology, and that was it. And he wrote so many wonderful books on self-hypnosis and hypnotism back in the 50s. And the two of them co-authored one of the best technical books on clinical hypnosis I've ever read, highly recommended. It's called Clinical Hypnotherapy, 1968. Cheek and LeCrone, published by Gruen and Stratton. And you have to search for it on Amazon or some of these other sites on the web. It's kind of out of print. Well, David Cheek updated that book in the year 1992 and published his book, Hypnosis, the Application of Idiomotor Techniques, with Allen and Bacon in 1992, and that's how my acquaintanceship with him began. My friendship, I had called him up to get a personal copy, and he actually answered the phone. At the time, I didn't know until I got to know him. He was retired, and he was living in his home with his second wife in Santa Barbara, California. He had essentially a long career in San Francisco at the University of San Francisco Medical School, where he actually was an OBGYN surgeon and pioneered techniques for working with women who had gynecological problems and unexplained pelvic pain, and helping women to become fertile who had fertility problems and so forth, and specialized in pain using hypnoanalytic techniques. All his articles are published in the American Journal of Clinical Hypnosis. He has a plethora of articles. And so he published